Well, ladies and gentlemen, the bubble girl strikes again. Ocasio-Cortez, who will pay, CNN asks Ocasio-Cortez who will pay $38 trillion for her programs. Wait for her answer, it's priceless. Now, I'm actually very shocked that this is a CNN interview with Ocasio-Cortez and she gets wrecked. I mean, this is like Tucker Carlson status wrecked by supposedly someone or a news organization that's on, the liberal side of things. So, I'm going to play this video for you. You'd be the one to decide. Hang on.
Your platform has called for various new programs, including Medicare for All, housing as a federal right, a federal jobs guarantee, tuition-free public college, canceling all student loan debt. According to nonpartisan and left-leaning studies friendly to your cause, including the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities or the Tax Policy Center, the overall price tag is more than $40 trillion in the next decade. You recently said in an interview that increasing taxes on the very wealthy plus an increased corporate tax rate would make $2 trillion over the next 10 years. So where's the other $38 trillion going to come from?
Well, one of the things that we need to realize when we look at something like Medicare for All would save the American people a very large amount of money. And what we see as well is that these systems are not just pie in the sky. Many of them are accomplished by every modern civilized democracy in the Western world. The United Kingdom has a form of single-payer health care. Canada, France, Germany. What we need to realize is that these investments are better and they are good for our future. These are generational investments.
Did she answer it? How is she gonna pay? Did I miss it? Hold on.
So that they're not short-term band-aids, but they are really profound decisions about who we want to be as a nation and how we want to act as the wealthiest nation in the history of the world.
Okay. How are you gonna pay for it? $38 trillion.
Right. No, I get that, but the price tag for everything that you've laid out in your campaign is $40 trillion over the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. I understand that Medicare for All would cost more to some wealthier people and to the government and to taxpayers while also reducing individual healthcare expenditures. But I'm talking about the overall package. You say it's not pie in the sky, but $40 trillion is quite a bit of money. And the taxes that you talked about raising to pay for this, to pay for your agenda, $1 billion is quite a bit of money.
Look at her face when he says $40 trillion is quite a bit of money. She's like, yeah, I know. It's a shit ton of money. It's not mine, so who cares?
And the taxes that you talked about raising to pay for this, to pay for your agenda, only count for two. And we're going by left-leaning.
Only counts for $2 trillion. How does anyone think this is rational? And she has the audacity to say, it's not pie in the sky. It's realistic. It's like the least realistic thing you could possibly ask.
Analysts.
Right. Well, when you look again at how our healthcare works, currently we pay much of these costs go into the private sector. So what we see is, for example, a year ago, I was working downtown in a restaurant. I went around and I asked how many of you folks have health insurance. Not a single person did, because they would have had to have paid $200 a month for a payment for insurance that had an $8,000 deductible. What these represent are lower costs overall for these programs. And additionally, what this is a broader agenda. We do know and we acknowledge that there are political realities. They don't always happen with just the wave of a wand, but we can work to make these things happen. And in fact, when you look at the economic activity that it spurs, for example, if you look at my generation, millennials, the amount of economic activity that we do not engage in, the fact that we delay purchasing homes, that we don't participate in the...
Okay, first of all, you are not my generation, okay? You went to an indoctrination camp known as college, and I have real life experience, so I know the difference between what is bullshit and what is real. Something that I hope one day you learn. Let's finish the video.
The economy and purchasing cars, etc., as fully as possible is a cost.
Look at this guy's face.
It is an externality, if you will, of unprecedented amounts of student loan debt.
I'm assuming I'm not going to get an answer for the other $38 trillion, but we'll have you back and maybe we can go over that.
Oh, God, that was good.
Hi, thank you, Sarah. Very
Okay. So, needless to say, so she has this, this idea that, healthcare for all is going to cost $40 trillion, right? First of all, hell no. And secondly, if you would just let the market do what it needs to do, let's say prices do become astronomical, right? Because a lot of times people make the argument that, oh, well, the cost of healthcare is gone up. Well, yeah, it's because the government's involved. And then they say, well, the cost of having to buy, like if I have to go to the emergency room or if I get an ambulance, that stuff costs a ton of money. Well, it never used to cost a ton of money because the government wasn't involved. The government doesn't subsidize, the government didn't subsidize medicine. It didn't subsidize healthcare at all. It was solely a service-based system to where, if I'm the average Joe and I can't afford a $40,000 procedure, the doctor's going to do it for what I can afford. And if no one can afford the procedure, they should have to lower their prices. But guess what? They don't, because the government says, we'll pay the rest. That's not how a free market works. Okay? So, to Ocasio-Cortez, good luck with that. I hope you get your shit together and figure out your elbow from your ass. That's all I got.